Okay, well, the power of love in troubled times. Oop. I think you'll all agree what's happening in the world now is tragic. The wars that are going on around the globe, the famine that millions are experiencing on this planet, and the suffering all around, and what's happening in the USA. And I could go on and on and on. What if I were to tell you what's happening out there has absolutely nothing to do with you? And yet, however, it does have everything to do with you in here. How many of you have said at one time or another in your lives, I'm just one person. What difference can I make? I'm just a small fish in the sea. I feel helpless because there's nothing I can do. What's happening out there is much greater than me. Or what can small little me do about any of that? Well, small little me, who may I remind you, is both spiritual and human, choosing to have a human experience can do something even more important in you and your life than what you can do for world events. Myrtle Fillmore taught, you do not have a spiritual life. You are a spiritual life. That's what happens when I look away. We can learn to love no matter the circumstances. We can learn to focus on our response to things by asking ourselves, are we responding lovingly or are we responding in fear? When we boil it down, there are really only two responses, right? We can choose love or we can choose fear. And let's be honest, fear is very sneaky. It hides under words like be cautious, have some common sense, or be realistic. Fear at its core is contraction. Fear closes the heart. It disconnects us from each other and from our source. Love, on the other hand, expands. Love is courageous. Love connects us, even when the world looks like it's falling apart. You see, when you choose fear, you add more fear into the collective consciousness. I'm going to read that again. When we choose fear, we add more fear into the collective consciousness. When we choose love, we add love. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather add to the love bucket than the fear bucket. Let me say something that may or may not be bold to you. The world is a mirror. What we see out there is reflecting what is happening in the collective, in here, which adds to the collective. Wars, violence, greed, famine, they are external expressions of the inner wars, the inner sanctity or scarcity, the inner power struggles that humanity hasn't healed yet. And here's the empowering part. You and I don't have to fix the whole world. We don't. We don't have to carry the world on our shoulders. We only have to polish the piece of mirror that is ours. In Unity, we say, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. When you and I hold thoughts of peace, of love, of abundance, they ripple outward. They contribute to the healing of the world. Think of a pebble tossed in a pond. The ripples move outward, right? They touch every part of the water. Your thoughts, your actions, your prayers, your kindness, they are all just like pebbles. You may never know how far those ripples travel. A simple thing like a smile you gave the cashier who was having a rough day may have lifted her spirit just enough to go home and be kinder to her kids, who then went to school the next day and treated their classmates with kindness. And that's how it works, right? The ripple effect. We have a choice every day about what kind of ripples we're sending out. Now, I can already hear someone thinking, well, that sounds wonderful. But what does it look like on Monday morning when I'm stuck in traffic, late for work, and the driver in front of me clearly got his license, or hers, it's actually their license, from a cereal box? What do I do then, right? I get it. Choosing love isn't always easy. And I promise you, I can attest to that, even from something that happened yesterday. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. It's not about ignoring reality. However, it is about transforming how we meet reality. When you're in traffic, love might look like taking a deep breath and just blessing the driver. We don't know where they're going. We don't know what's happening in their lives. Is there an emergency? Do they need to catch a plane? We don't know, right? So let's just bless them instead of cursing them. When the news headlines makes your blood boil, love might look like pausing, putting your hand on your heart and affirming, there is a higher truth unfolding. Even if I cannot see it right now, there is. When someone speaks harshly to you, and this happened to me yesterday, and I said to Mark this morning, when I reread my talk, I said, this was written for me, right? Because when someone speaks harshly to you, love might look like remembering this person is coming from their own pain. I don't need to take it personally. And I failed. I took it very personally. So it's something I got to work on. But it's a good reminder, right? It's a good reminder. We don't have to be perfect. But if we have an awareness of what we are putting out in the world, love or fear, these are vibrations. These make a difference. And if we have that awareness, we're able to make the choice. And when we don't, we can acknowledge it and say, okay, that's past. Next time I'll do better. Love is not passive. It's the most powerful active force in the universe. Charles Fillmore said, God does not love anybody or anything. God is the love in everybody and everything. God is the love. Think about that. God is not love as a verb. God is love as a noun. Love is the very essence of who we are and what we are. Jesus demonstrated this radical love. He loved the outcasts, the lepers, the tax collectors. He even loved those who nailed him to the cross. Why? Because he understood that love is the only way to dissolve hate. Love is the only force strong enough to transform fear. When we follow that example, we aren't just being nice, we are participating in the healing of the planet. Now, some of you might be wondering, are you saying that I should ignore what's happening in the world? Should I pretend it's not happening? Absolutely not. Awareness is most important. Compassion is important. Taking right action is important. But we can't let the outer circumstances dictate our inner state of being. Myrtle Fillmore once said, "We're not to deny that things appear wrong, but we are to deny that they have power over us or can keep us from expressing our divine nature." So yes, acknowledge the wars, acknowledge the famine, acknowledge the injustices, but do not hand them your peace. Do not let them rent space in your heart and not pay rent. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I think the news channels should be renamed 24-hour fear factory, right? Because that's what they are. I mean, news used to be about being neutral and about just reporting the news. The news that I see on TV has become very much more dramatized. You know, just the language they use, and they try and put in words that I think are clever, that connect to the topic. So, and what I mean by that is the graphics are red, right? Breaking news, which happened yesterday. The music is dramatic. The anchor leans in and whispers like they're about to tell you the world is ending. Imagine if instead we had a channel called 24-Hour Gratitude Network. Every hour they'd feature someone who made a difference, a miracle story, a random act of kindness. I'd subscribe to that in a heartbeat, wouldn't you? Here's the truth. You can't control the wars out there, but you can end the wars in your mind. Where are you still battling yourself with criticism? Is anybody not battling themselves with criticism right now? No hands, right? So it's not something that we're alone in. We all do this to ourselves. Where are you still waging war with family members or co-workers, even if only in your head? Where are you starving yourself of compassion, creating famine in your own soul? When you heal those places in yourself, you're doing the most important work of all. Let's bring in Unity's 12 powers for a minute. These are spiritual capacities we all have within us: faith, strength, wisdom, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zeal, elimination, and life. Right now, the world doesn't need more fear. It needs more love. But notice, love is one of the powers. We also need the power of wisdom to know how to apply love. We need strength to keep choosing love when it's difficult. We need imagination to envision a world beyond war and famine. When you consciously activate your 12 powers, you become a living demonstration of spirit in action. Let me share a story. Years ago, there was a woman who lived next door to a man who was angry all the time. He yelled at his kids, cursed at his wife, slammed doors at midnight. She dreaded crossing paths with him. So one day she decided, I'm going to silently bless this man every time I see him. She didn't confront him. She didn't try to change him. She just sent love from her heart. Months later, she noticed he was calmer. His yard was tended. His children were laughing outside again. She thought, wow, maybe my little silent blessings made a difference. And then she realized the biggest difference was in her. She no longer carried fear every time she walked out the door. Her heart was lighter. Her world was transformed. So this isn't theory. This is the daily practice we need to be doing. When we choose love, in traffic, at the grocery store, in conversations with family, or how we treat ourselves, we shift the vibration of the whole planet. We are powerful beings. And I'll tell you a secret. The planet doesn't need 7 billion people to choose love at the same time. Even a small percentage choosing love consistently creates a tipping point. That's the power of consciousness. Unity gives us tools to anchor this practice. Affirmations and denials are two of them. A denial might sound like, fear has no power over me. An affirmation might sound like, I am a radiant expression of divine love. So together, we release fear as the denial, and we affirm, I am a radiant expression of divine love as our affirmation. When you feel overwhelmed by the news, deny its power to steal your peace. Affirm the truth of your divine nature. That's how you claim or reclaim your spiritual authority. So let me leave you with some practical invitations. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is my response coming from a place of love or a place of fear? Bless instead of curse. The driver, the politician, the neighbor, bless them. Limit your news intake. Get informed, absolutely. Then turn it off. And then go and replace it with doing something fun or having a meditation or creating a gratitude list. You keep yourself informed so you know what's going on, but you don't have to carry the burden. Activate your 12 powers. Call on strength, wisdom, and love in your daily decisions. And affirm the truth. I am love in action. I am peace in expression. The world will always have noise, chaos, and circumstances that can pull us into fear. But you and I are not powerless. We are powerful spiritual beings. We may not stop every war or feed every hungry person directly, but we can stop the wars in our own mind. We can feed the hunger in our own hearts. And from that place, we can ripple love out into the world in ways we may never fully see. So let us leave here today, not as small fish in a big sea, but as mighty waves of love, choosing moment by moment to live not in fear, but in love. Let's take a few minutes in meditation and send out ripples of love. So I invite you now to close your eyes. If that feels comfortable, take a slow, deep breath. Deep breath in through your nose and release gently through your mouth. And again, through your nose, gently through your mouth. And breathe in peace. Breathe in peace. Breathe out any tension or worry. Allow your shoulders to drop. Feel your body supported by the chair, by the earth beneath you. You are safe here. Now bring your awareness to your heart center. Place a hand there if you'd like. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath, the life pulsing within you. Silently say to yourself, I am love. Love is who I am. With each inhale, imagine your heart filling with light. With each exhale, imagine that light expanding, shining out around you. See the light of love moving beyond you now, like ripples in a pond, touching the person next to you, filling this entire room with warmth and peace. Notice how the energy shifts as you allow love to flow freely. No effort, only allowing. Now imagine those ripples reaching beyond this room, spilling out into our city, touching every home, every street, every heart in need. Let the ripples move even further across the nation, across the oceans, to all places where fear, hunger, or war seem to rule. With each ripple silently bless, may you know peace, may you know love, may you know peace, may you know love, may you know peace, may you know love. Rest in the stillness for a few minutes. Just a few breaths. Rest in this vast field of love you are co-creating. Feel the truth that you are not a small fish, but a wave of love moving through the world. May you know peace. May you know love. When you are ready, gently bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a deep breath in and exhale fully. When you are ready, softly open your eyes, and I affirm for us together, I am love in action. I am a ripple of peace in the world. And so be it.